The Prelude was once one of the most recognizable nameplates in the Honda lineup, but it took a long enough hiatus that its recent revival came as a surprise to many. Yes, that's right, Honda is bringing the Prelude back for the first time in decades, and that means it's the perfect time to revisit the illustrious history of this sports coupe. The new model, due for 2026, will be the 6th generation of the Prelude, and the first 5 were bangers. So we have high hopes for the new one. Here, we're detailing the milestones that led the Prelude to become such a revered model among car enthusiasts over the years, going in chronological order from the first generation to today. First generation, 1979 to 1982. By the time Honda launched the Prelude in the late 1970s, the Japanese automaker had already established a foothold in the US with the fuel-efficient and practical Civic. The Prelude Coupe launched in the same year that Honda introduced the Accord sedan in the US, offering a sportier and more upscale option. Though smaller than the Accord, the Prelude had distinct styling and the same 1.8-liter engine as the sedan. Fun trivia: a limited number of first-gen Preludes were turned into convertibles by a third-party company and sold through Honda dealerships. Second generation, 1983 to 1987. In the same year that the Honda Accord won our 10 Best Award for the first time, Honda introduced a new generation of the Prelude. Its far more modern design introduced a wedge shape and pop-up headlights. This generation marked the first time Honda offered an SI model, with the designation referring to the sport-injected 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine. Third generation, 1988 to 1991, it didn't look all that different from the second-gen Prelude, with a familiar shape and pop-up headlights once again. But the third-gen car did introduce some notable upgrades. The most memorable of these was a rear-wheel steering system that Honda called 4WS. It could turn the rear wheels both in the opposite direction, as the fronts for low-speed maneuvers, and in the same direction as the front wheels at higher speeds. The SI model returned and produced up to 140 horsepower by the end of this generation's run. Fourth generation, 1992 to 1996. The fourth generation Prelude embraced the curvy, smooth look that was so popular in the 1990s. Its interior was futuristic for its day, with a streamlined, multi-tiered dashboard layout. When it launched, the fourth-gen Prelude was still one of only 3 models Honda sold, serving once again as a sportier companion to the Civic and Accord. The Odyssey minivan and Passport and CR-V SUVs didn't arrive until later. With the departure of the Civic-based CRX, only the Civic Si and the Prelude were left to carry the torch for sporty Hondas at this time. The 1993 Prelude VTEC was the first Honda in the US to use a new double overhead cam DOHC version of the VTEC variable valve timing system. Its 2.2-liter inline-4 produced 190 horsepower and 158 pound-feet of torque, 30 HP more than the Prelude SI's 2.3-liter engine without this technology. This generation of Prelude was the last to offer the rear-wheel steering option. Fifth generation, 1997-2001. The rounded look of the fourth-generation Prelude didn't continue into the next model, as Honda went back to the more squared-off profile this time around, only without the pop-up headlights of the second and third-gen cars. All fifth-gen Preludes came with a VTEC 2.2-liter inline-4 with 200 horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque. This new version introduced a trim level called SH, which came with a torque vectoring system and different wheels and tires compared with the base car. In 1997, we set out to find the best handling vehicle for less than $30,000, and the Prelude SH won. It beat out rear-wheel drive machines including the BMW 3 Series, Chevrolet Camaro, and Mazda MX-5 Miata, plus other FWD competitors such as the Eagle Talon and Ford Contour SVT. We called it spirited, predictable, and utterly unflappable, despite the fact that the ATTS torque vectoring system wasn't functioning properly on our test car. 6th generation, 2026. Many thought that the 5th generation Prelude would be the final go-around for this nameplate, as Honda abandoned the Prelude for decades, leaving the Accord Coupe to fill its spot until that model was discontinued for 2018. But the company surprised everyone in 2023 by showing a concept for a new Prelude and later announcing that it would become a production car.